Warren Buffett is wrong. And I'm not here to bash on one of the best investors that's ever lived. I'm here to talk about his recent performance and his recent stance on, for example, cryptocurrencies, right? Because he did say that Bitcoin is red poison squared, right? First he was asked, what do you think of Bitcoin? He said it's red poison. Then he was asked again, he said it's red poison squared, now that it went even higher. So he has a very critical opinion on this. And this is where times are now shifting. In the last 15 years, unfortunately, Berkshire Hathaway did not outperform the S&P 500. So take the Berkshire Hathaway price, divide it by the S&P 500, and you don't see outperformance anymore. This is different to the early days, right? In the early days, Berkshire Hathaway really killed it. He made more than 20% outperformance every year on average. So times have changed. The world became more competitive, and now when you're 92 years old and all the value creation happens in technology, you of course tend to lose your edge. And so I want to talk about one of Warren Buffett's famous quotes. So he said once that price is what you pay and value is what you get. And this is true in the stock market. It's also true in other markets, but it's harder to assess. So for stocks, it's very simple actually, because you've got both the price in US dollars as well as the value that you get in the future in US dollars. Right? So the price is simply just what you pay, the US dollars. The value is the present value of the future cash flows, right? You've got all the future dividends that you get for this company in the future. You divide this by whatever discount rate you have. You sum up all those future cash flows. That's the value, okay? So you have to estimate the value. You have to estimate what will this company make in the future. And you have to put this in comparison to the current price. So if the current price is lower than the future cash flows plus some security margin, etc., then you've got something that's worth investing in. So price is what you pay, value is what you get. It's both denominated in US dollars for financial instruments such as stocks. Straightforward. Now it does not get so straightforward once the value that you get is more intangible. So that's, for example, why Warren Buffett always did not like gold, right? He always pushes against gold. He says gold does not produce anything. The same argument also for Bitcoin. Gold doesn't produce anything. He rather has a lot of farmland than having like a big block of gold that just stands around there, right? The farmland produces food, etc. It produces utility. You rather own that. Same with stocks. But for gold, the utility is intangible. For gold, the utility is that you can protect yourself against government overreach, right? Or you can protect yourself against a financial crisis. You've got less correlation across different asset classes. So you take on less risk. The idea is protecting yourself. So Warren Buffett sold protection basically, right? This is where he made a lot of his money. He invested a lot in insurance companies. He sold negative expected value investments, right? Insurances. You pay for an insurance, you get out less, right? On average, otherwise insurance companies wouldn't make money. So you would sell protection, make money from this, other people buy it. Now, with gold, it's kind of like the same. You buy an insurance against government overreach. For Bitcoin, I'd argue it's again the same, but it's better than gold. And that's why we see some of the gold money moving into Bitcoin. That's also why we see more and more adoption of Bitcoin, and the gold market is somewhat stagnating. So let's look at the properties, right? Why would you prefer Bitcoin over gold when it's so much more volatile? It is more volatile. That's the problem, right? It crashes 80% from top to bottom during a winter. Happened several times, 4 or 5 times in the lifetime of Bitcoin. Does not necessarily happen that much for gold. But why could you still prefer Bitcoin? Basically 2 reasons. Over the very long term, Bitcoin is less inflationary. So gold gets mined by roughly 3 to 4% per year. Additional gold hits the market. So you've got an expansion of the gold supply. You also have an expansion of the Bitcoin supply with the mining, but it's lower. It's around 2%. You also have Bitcoin that's being lost, and the rate at which Bitcoin gets lost is even higher than the mining. So actually the Bitcoin supply over time is shrinking, the liquid Bitcoin supply. So you've got that. This is an advantage, obviously, over gold. You still have, obviously, the volatility. The second advantage, and this is now the government overreach, you can transport Bitcoin much easier than you can transport gold, especially across jurisdictions. I've never tried it, but I could imagine if you try to check in like a kilogram of gold in your hand baggage, you probably will get quite a few questions at the airport. With Bitcoin, you can have as much value as you want. You simply just remember the key phrase, right? You remember these 10, 15 words in your head. And that's all you need. You can basically remember the key to your wealth in your head. You have nothing at your hands. And whenever you need to redeem the Bitcoin, you can simply just transfer this to a hardware wallet and go to whatever jurisdiction is friendly to Bitcoin. And this is why Bitcoin is now so much more potent than it used to be, say, 5 years ago, because now there's way more adoption. There are way more wallets that hold at least one Bitcoin. This is a relatively steady graph. The number of wallets that hold at least one Bitcoin is increasing. So the retail adoption is increasing with time. And why is this so helpful? It's helpful because it makes Bitcoin more robust. First, against legislation, right? So if governments ban Bitcoin, there's more people that push against this. But also, it opens up Bitcoin to more jurisdictions. So if you have to leave your jurisdiction because of government overreach and you want to go somewhere else, now there are more places. Basically, everywhere in the world, you will find somebody that will give you some kind of value against your Bitcoin. And these kinds of overreaches, they very often even target these stores of value, right? We have also seen this with gold. So gold was confiscated in the US back in the day. This could potentially happen with Bitcoin, but in the end, they're probably not going to be successful, right? People simply just leave the country, or they simply just don't declare that they have Bitcoin. So this is the difference where Warren Buffett has a hard time grasping the utility. You have a store of value that might be fluctuating, but that does get increased adoption. It's still a growing market, not so much for the gold market. You've got a store of value that's volatile, but that can simply be transferred across everywhere, that does not have any third-party risk. So it's not like a stable coin where you have to trust Binance or you have to trust Tether, etc. You've got something that's completely free of third parties and that stays robust over time. It becomes more robust as it grows. And this is in the end why it's a problem when your circle of confidence, right, circle of competence, what Warren Buffett talks about, it's a problem when this is not expanding or when this is not moving around, when you stay in your comfort zone for too long. This can work for decades, but when you stop learning, which, I'm not blaming him, right? He's 90. But at this point in time, when you stop progressing and the market continues to learn more, they continue to adopt new technologies and understand new technologies, at that point in time, you tend to lose your edge and then you tend to stop outperforming versus the S&P 500. That's unfortunately what happens to Warren Buffett, but that's why we are here to adopt this, right? To learn about this and to see the value. There is value, obviously, in Bitcoin. It has been proven for more than 10 years, and it's not going to get outlawed right now when there's no crisis. Even when it does get outlawed, there will still be this core of believers similar to gold, to the gold times, where you can still exchange your money. Or when times get better again, then it might become legal again, similar to how it happened with gold. I have made a similar discussion on a similar quote for Warren Buffett in the next video. So I was discussing this famous quote, to be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful, right? Should you be buying when everybody is panicking? This is also something that Warren Buffett famously said. That video comes next. That's over here. Looking forward to see you in that video, and thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.